Yes. Sometimes they almost envy you, Mr. Spock. Almost.
What'd I miss? Is that a smile I see on your face, Mr. Spock? Guess not.
I believe we were scheduled to rendezvous with the Potemkin.
Yes, sir. In under 4 hours.
Well, let's not keep them waiting. Lieutenant Uhura, contact them, let them know we'll be lighting all the boilers, if that's all right with you, Mr. Scott.
As if you had to ask.
Mr. Chekhov, set a course for Beta Oregon. Course laid in, sir. Mr. Sulu, warp 6.
Yes, sir.
We've come a long way. I watched it and I'm like, ooh, oh, ooh. Yes, question?
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Doris.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And it's my first time at FedCon.
Really, mine too! Welcome.
I've seen your films during the whole days, and especially on Friday evening, the new one.
Oh, the new one, you got to see the sneak preview? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, it was very impressive.
Thank you, thank you.
And I was wondering about the music, because I like soundtracks from everywhere, and where did you get the music?
I love that you asked that question. See, an hour-long panel is not enough for me. I want to talk to you guys for like 2 hours. Okay, let me tell you about the music, okay? Oh my gosh. I'm a musician. I mean, almost before anything else. I've been writing, playing the piano, singing, producing music for 30 years. How old am I? 35 years. How old am I? So the music of our series was extremely important to me. I feel like the music of Star Trek, the original series, is its own special thing. It's got its own personality. Like, nobody writes music like that anymore. You watch TV shows today, even Next Generation. It wasn't the same. There was a specific type, feel, style of music from the original series. So it was extremely important to me that we use original series music, and not only that, but we use the right music. Choosing the right music for the right moment is everything. It's huge. So, when we shot Pilgrim of Eternity, I chose all the music, and I put it in place, and there were a handful of places where I couldn't find a piece of music that really matched the emotion that I wanted for that moment. So I made my own. Fired up my little studio at home, and I created probably 7 or 8 little pieces of music that you would never know. They come out of an original piece from the original series, and they play out underneath the scene, and then they morph right back into an original series piece. And unless you were keenly familiar with the original series music, you would never know that there was something original there, which was my point all along, my purpose. About a year and a half ago, I was contacted by a guy named Andy Farber. Just off the internet, guy contacts me, like 1,000 other people have. And he says, hey, I'm a composer, and I would love, have you ever thought of writing or having original music for your series? And I said, well, thank you, but it's a very specific type of music. The original series had its own style, and it was performed by a live orchestra. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a live orchestra laying around that you can record, right? That's unlikely. Very unlikely. So this guy says to me, well, I love the original series, and I'm a composer, and I think I could write good music for you. And we had just shot episode 4. Now, how many of you have seen episode 4? You remember Nakia? You remember Nakia? The girl that Kirk was in love with on the Farragut when he was a young officer? She's a new character, right? Which means she doesn't have her own theme. Miramani had her own theme. Edith Keeler had her own theme. But not Nakia. So I wrote Andy Farber back and I said, okay, buddy, I'll give you a shot. Write me a theme for Nakia and send it to me as a demo. And if I like it, we'll talk more. He wrote something and he sent it to me. And as soon as I played it, I was like, oh my God, this guy gets it. He gets it. Then I did a little research on Andy Farber. He teaches composition at Juilliard in New York City. The guy is brilliant. And it gets better. When I told him, okay, let's do this, he rounded up an entire orchestra of volunteers. And I flew to New York. And I stood there in the studio and listened to this orchestra play real Star Trek cues in my presence. Like I could walk over to the violinist right there. And I'm hearing this music that felt so familiar. And I sobbed. I sobbed. You want to see a little bit of that? Eric? Eric? Yes. Sorry to bother you again. Can we go back to that same page? Hold on. Scoring episode 4. Where is it? I see 5. Where's 4?
In the middle.
Yes. Click that, please.
This one?
Right in the middle. No, in the middle. Scoring 4. That. Episode 4 scoring. Click it and turn it up a little bit for me. We will watch the whole thing, but I want you to just watch this. You know, from the very beginning of starting this web series, Star Trek Continues, I always felt that the music Can you maximize it? absolutely one of the most important things. It Full was screen? the music of the original series that really inspired me, and it stuck with me. I always remembered the themes, and I always felt like they captured the moment perfectly. But finding somebody who can write original series Star Trek style music is not easy. People just don't write like that anymore.
I've been watching Star Trek since I was 4 years old. My father was watching it one day, and I still remember the first episode I saw, which was Dagger of the Mind. And I've been watching it ever since. And, well, you know, you go through 79 episodes rather quickly. And after a while, I came back to, looking around for more content. And I found on the internet, Star Trek Continues. Probably before the launch even, there was a little snippet from the end of Turnabout Intruder, and I was completely knocked out, blown away. I said, I can't wait until these guys make episodes, and I thought, boy, I'd really love to write some season 4 music in that style and sort of channel my favorite composers, whether it be Fred Steiner, Sandy Courage, Gerald Fried, George Dooning, all of my favorites, and write something in that style.
I always wanted to have a real orchestra playing some original cues for Star Trek Continues. And episode 4 is going to allow us to do that. After meeting Andy Farber, and he said, you know, I'd love to do this. And he sent me an example, and it was wonderful. It actually ended up being Nakia's theme for episode 4.
So when we were thinking about how we were going to actually score this thing, I reached out to a friend of mine who's a composer and professor at Rochester Institute of Technology. And that's Jonathan Kruger. And we were talking about this, and he said, oh, well, why don't we do it in Rochester with members of the Eastman Studio Orchestra?
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to your composer and director. He is at the Juilliard School of Music, where he teaches jazz arranging and plays with the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. Andy Farber.
So here we are at the studio with a bunch of amazing student musicians and some amazing professional musicians.
I was one of the kids that went to the conventions when we were all pushing for the show to get renewed. And at one of the conventions, they had a Q&A, and someone got up and said to Bill Shatner or to Gene Roddenberry, how about more of that Fred Steiner music? And that was just so great because Fred Steiner is my cousin, and So I'm honored to be representing my cousin as a link to the original show.
We're doing what has never been done before. Not only recording original series music with a live orchestra again for the series, but also recording some new cuts and some original themes for Star Trek Continues with a full live orchestra.